Hello, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome to my channel where we overthink, get emotionally attached, and occasionally cry in public over a book. Yeah, that's very much us. And my name is Shelly, for those of you who are new, and I'm absolutely so excited for our topic today. The big question: do books actually make you more empathetic? And if so, why do some people, including myself, still judge others in real life but would die for a morally gray character with unresolved trauma? Just to give an example. Today, we're just really going to talk about like the psychology, the science, and the storytelling magic behind deep reading and whether books are really turning us into better people or just giving us great escapism, because honestly, they do. First off, let's define the vibe, okay? Deep reading is what happens when we're really immersed in a book, not skimming TikTok recaps or flipping pages between Netflix episodes. No, it's when we fully engage critically and emotionally, visualizing characters, understanding motivations, and following the plot with full attention. That is deep reading. Now, according to neuroscientist Marianne Wolf, I've not read any of her books, but I've been meaning to read her books, especially Reader Come Home, because she is a neuroscientist, so she actually has background. She has done the research into reading and how our brains actually interpret how we read and everything. And so I really want to read her books. But in looking into this topic, I saw that she said that deep reading is a unique brain exercise that activates language regions, visual and sensory processing, and emotional cognition, as well as theory of mind. Now, this is our ability to imagine other people's thoughts and feelings. So, in short, deep reading trains your brain like emotional weightlifting. Fiction is essentially empathy gym, which for a lot of us is the most gym time we're going to see in a very long time. And hey, it's okay. It's okay. I'm one of those people. Feel no guilt, no shame. It's okay. So when you're sobbing over a character's heartbreak or their death, your brain isn't just sad. It's literally simulating the character's perspective or the perspective of their friend who has lost them, any of that. Meanwhile, your real life friend gets dumped and your first response is, "Oh no." Anyway, so reading one, you zero. But let's actually look into the science behind books and empathy. And does reading fiction actually make you more empathetic? I think that's one question that, especially for the nonfiction readers out there, we really have to get into, okay? Multiple studies say yes, but it depends on the type of reading and the reader's engagement. So it's not simply, oh, I'm reading fiction, so I am the most empathetic person out there. No. There are caveats. We do have to qualify our reading, okay? So, the 2013 Kidd and Castano study, which was done by the New School for Social Research. Basically, this was a study where participants, they read literary fiction, so think, Chekhov and Monroe, and genre fiction or nonfiction, one side, other side, exactly. And only the literary fiction group showed measurable improvements in emotional intelligence and the theory of mind. So basically, stories with complex characters and emotional ambiguity, not just plot driven thrillers, are empathy boosters. But, there's always a but, I know. Later studies argue it's not just literary snobbery. The key is how deeply you connect. Even a YA fantasy can increase empathy if you're emotionally invested in the characters in a world. So it's not about genre, it's about depth. So, yes, even fantasy can make you a better person. Shout out to Morley Gray Assassins teaching me more about grief, you know, than the therapist I really should be speaking to. But I just have to say, I just have to put it out there, okay? Because some people be hating on fantasy. Like, what does fantasy teach you? You're riding dragons and escaping to a magical world. Ha! It teaches me quite a lot. Thank you very much. Ha! But wait. What about nonfiction? Aren't real stories supposed to be more impactful? Well, sometimes. I'm not just going to say no because that's just not true. But here's the twist, okay? Fiction often has a greater impact on empathy because it forces us to imagine. With nonfiction, the facts are presented. You receive the story, which is why I always tell you guys I prefer the genre fiction a lot of the time because nonfiction, it's facts, it's real world, okay? With fiction, you co create the experience. You step into the mind of someone else, even if they're fictional. Especially if they're fictional, actually. Fiction lets us explore experiences we might never live. You can explore a refugee's journey, um, a grieving teenager's spiral, especially because I'm no longer a teenager. You can experience a magical warlord, a magical wizard in exile. Shout out to all the retellings out there, okay? You can even experience a lonely AI contemplating mortality. I know that's hitting a bit too close to home for some, but I had to say it. Sorry. The more unfamiliar, the more the brain has to stretch. So, ironically, fictional pain can feel more real than non fictional statistics. And you know what? I hear it. A lot of us run away from statistics, whereas with fiction, you know, we run towards it a lot of the time. So, I'm not that surprised that the studies kind of support this theory that fiction kind of helps you more in the empathy department. Hey, that's all I'm saying. I get it. That's all I'm saying. Now, with a lot of things that we talk about, we do have to bring it back to book talk because that's kind of the era that we're in, where anything involving literature and books kind of involves book talk, or we just have to bring it into the conversation. Don't punch me, please. We're just going to look at it. We're going to look at empathy in the book talk era. Because here's the gag. Book talk loves books that make you feel things. We spoke about this before, the dopamine of just the heightened emotion that you're feeling. So book talk, the community loves the sad endings, the tragic heroes, the emotionally devastating plot twists. But are we feeling these things for clout or for connection? Okay. We cry, we post about crying, we rated 5 stars for emotional damage, but are we carrying the empathy beyond the screen? Okay. There's a difference between catharsis and compassion, and I think that's a point that a lot of people have to take note of. Crying over, I don't know, Song of Achilles is one thing, but being kind to a stranger who's grieving, that's the real world test. Does your empathy transfer from what you say you felt from reading the book? Does it transfer to the real world? And sometimes we hyper consume sad stories to the point that we become numb. And I feel like a lot of people in this generation are getting to that point or already there. Empathy becomes performative or worse, a trend. So the question isn't just can books make us more empathetic? It's are we letting them? Because if I can forgive a fictional character for essentially mass murdering because they had a tragic backstory, surely I can have grace on someone who walks slow in front of me at the mall. Right? 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 Now, I'm not saying I would forgive a fictional character that did that, but I know a lot of you would. Because you guys have forgiven a lot in books and then say, oh, but it's fiction. But in real life, ah, I'm clocking somebody's tea right there. That being said, oh, peppermint, so lovely. Now, let's land the plane. I've been flying for a minute now. Books can absolutely make us more empathetic. If we read deeply, not just widely, if we challenge ourselves with unfamiliar perspectives, can I get a shout for diversity? Yeah. If we pause to reflect instead of binge, especially for the sake of content, and most importantly, if we apply what we learn outside of the pages that we read. Empathy isn't just about feelings, it's about action. Fiction gives us the emotional rehearsal. Real life is the stage, baby. It is the stage. So the next time a book breaks your heart, ask, what is it building within you? Because maybe the whole point of reading isn't just escape. Let's get there, babe. It's transformation. Books ruin me a lot of the time as well. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I do enjoy the dopamine and even the sadness, just like a lot of you. And that's completely okay. But, guys, I don't just stay there and I don't keep my empathy on the page. You better believe I'm letting it transfer from page to real world. And I am desperately hoping that you guys are doing the same. So, as always, let me know in the comments what you think. Do books make you more empathetic? And have you seen it for yourself where with fiction you can definitely see a change and with nonfiction you don't, or with, more literary fiction you don't? Or is it something that you never really stop to think about? And what do you think about the topic on a whole? Like, do you think books are helping, hurting? Do you think, for the people who are binging sad reads, do you think society is getting to the point of numbness? I mean, when I say society, I mean book society. Do you think a lot of the newer generation that are loving the sad books, do you think they're getting to that point? Do you think they're already there? Or do you think we're safe? Because I've experienced so many things through the internet, through TikTok, and so many times I watch something and I go, um, do do we not have feelings anymore? Are we not able to empathize with people anymore? I'll go through comments of a video and I'm just like, how can you say that? Like, they're a human. But it seems like a lot of us don't care. And that's getting scary. But let me know in the comments, guys. This was a really, really fun topic to really just go into. It was one of my more shorter topics, but I actually enjoyed it. I usually drag on, drag on, drag on. But today I was just like, you know what, let's keep it short and sweet. And I really, really appreciated that. So you guys might be getting a bit more shorter videos from me. I say might because you guys know how I like to go. I say that you're going to get a shorter video and then I gab on for 30, 40 minutes. We've all been there with me before. But that's it for today, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.